Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dumb and Dumbest podcast, a music industry podcast where everything is terrible and the house is on fire. I'm Matt Bacon, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Curtis Dewar.
Who's also very phlegmy still.
I just described you as beautiful, Curtis. You didn't need to.
Beautiful and phlegmy.
Anyway, beautifully phlegmy.
Beautifully phlegmy, yeah.
Curtis, what are we talking about today?
Basically, prices. Like how much you should expect to pay when you're ready to promote your album. Correct? Is that how we're framing it? Okay, cool. So we're talking about costs, what you should be looking at. We'll talk about, should you pay for advertising? Do you need to pay for advertising? What are the types of costs you should be expecting to make? So first of all, it kind of depends upon what your budget is. So, like, ask me a question about something, Matt, so that way I can think of a way of how to frame this.
So basically, how much do you charge, Curtis?
I charge, most publicists will not tell you this, by the way, but I charge $395 US per month, or I charge $700 for 2 months, or 3 months for $1,100 if those are paid up front. That's my going rate as of right now.
Okay. Roughly, I happen to know. Do you know roughly how much a big band like Lamb of God or Exodus pays per month?
I believe it's $5,000 to $10,000 a month, if I'm not mistaken.
For like a big campaign, and then they'll like have people on a retainer for a bunch of like $1,000 a month too. Like that's the thing. Like a big league PR campaign is upwards of $10,000. Even like some pretty like mid-sized shit, like it can cost over $1,000 a month.
Well, Devil Driver, I remember last year, I think it was in Metal Sucks, they said they were paying $4,000 a month for their PR. So I would imagine if they're doing 4K, there's other people they're doing a lot higher because they're mid-level band too, right? They're not even A level.
Exactly. So like, okay, now does Devil Driver get into Rolling Stone?
They have.
But like
it's rare. Yeah, it's rare. Do they get into Stereo Gum, the black market? Almost never. I don't think they ever would, the black market, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but they're outside of that type of site purview. But still.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah.
Point being, I think this circles back to what we talked about before, is having awareness of where you're at.
Yeah.
So many people go out and they want to get into Rolling Stone or Needle Drop or whatever.
Which is fine.
Yeah, not realizing that Needle Drop only does so many reviews a day.
And it's pretty damn tough. Like, everybody and their dog is trying to get a hold of Anthony, too. Exactly. I mean, I think I had one thing that placed with him in the last 5 years, and that was like one time, and I have not been able to replicate that since.
Yeah.
Like, he's tough to get into.
No. So here's the thing. One sec, I'm filming this for Instagram.
Sure.
In the world of PR and journalists, the musicians have way too much content to be written about, and the journalists aren't being paid and barely have any time to cover one piece a day.
Yeah.
So, basically, like, unless you have something really fucking good, people aren't going to care, because I'm getting 500 submissions a week and I'm only writing 7 reviews a week. And guess what? And I'm not the Needle Drop, and I'm already kind of picky.
Yeah, I mean, Metal Injection is big for metal, but in the grand scheme,
you know what I mean?
It's not the metal, it's not the Needle Drop.
So, like, and so again, and then on top of this, it circles back to the number one rule that I always talk about, right? Which is just that talk to other bands in your scene and other bands who are like you, because guess what? They are going to have similar experiences. No band is existing in a vacuum, and no band is like, if I'm trying to think of the right word here. If you talk to other bands in your scene, you're going to understand what their experiences are. And once you understand their experiences, you're going to know where you can go, where to move next, what the moves are going to be. Once you have that, you can't help but to grow, but you need to look around you and be self-aware.
Yeah, and the other thing too, though, to keep in mind is that I know everybody wants to get like all the major placements that they can, and that's fine. And I'll do my best to do that, and so will any publicist that you work with. But you also have to understand, like, let's say that you're a brand new band with your debut single, for example, we'll say, you're probably not going to get Pitchfork no matter what, especially if you're playing black metal, or like if you're playing doom metal, or if you're playing, you know, crust or something like that. You know what I mean? Is it possible? Sure. Have other bands done it? Yeah, but generally they've hired publicists that are costing them like $5,000 a month, and they're on a major label.
Yeah, and I understand too kind of the frustration is that you know, like I think in a lot of cases you can be a band kind of coming out of a scene that's a bunch of fucking knuckleheads.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh well, if we're the only non-knuckleheads, why aren't they covering any other band from Cincinnati, for example? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not because the other bands from Cincinnati, you know, are like it's not like people are looking for one band to cover in Cincinnati. It's no one cares, and there's so many other bands out there that it's like penetrating through is unrealistic and difficult. You know, it's
but
not
that's
impossible.
Not to say,
but
now here's one thing too that you also got to keep in mind, because I've had good experience with placing small bands, unknown bands, into big publications. So don't take anything I say as like it's impossible or anything like that. But I always try to do that disclaimer there that yes, I've done it, but is it 100% guaranteed? No way. But that being said, the things that do help, that assist me and any other publicist to getting you that placement is A, obviously having high quality material, B, being active on social media, because one other thing is a major media outlet is going to look at your social media stats. Like I'm pretty sure Pitchfork is looking at the stats of bands before they agree to do a premiere. I could be wrong on that, but just a feeling I got that they're looking at that. And unless, you know, you fluke out and you get into the black market and Ian Chaney likes you, that's a little bit of a different thing. So, I mean, a lot of it comes down to your active social media presence. Who do you know? Sometimes if you're friends with another band, sometimes if they put a good word in for you, that makes the chances a lot easier as well. There's all sorts of different things that can affect things as well, right?
Yeah. And again, this is also part of why it's really important to like be that band who are friends with all the journalists.
Yeah.
Because if you're interacting with the journalists online, then they already at least have some conception of who you are. This is a huge issue I see bands take on all the time, is like they have no, like they expect people to write about them when those people have no conception of who they are. And, you know, if I have the choice between random band and band who are at least like my Facebook friends.
Yeah. Who have interacted with you at least, not just and hit you up with a like and never responded again.
Yeah. Well, because remember, it's like the monkey sphere. Like your brain can only really accept that 150 people are alive at any one time. You know, so, and I'm not saying that you have to be like one of those 150 close people to any individual, but like at least practice the self-awareness to realize like, oh, that's why people don't give a shit, is because they're going to write one review this week and their Twitter buddy is already there. And that's not fucking like, oh, well, they're not really dedicated to the music. They're fucking dedicated to the music. They're just talking to other people who are actually dedicated to the music. You not wanting to make friends is your problem, not theirs. Exactly. Like, and then fucking grow up.
And the other thing, too, that I've noticed that can be a pain in the butt for getting press for some bands. Obviously, this isn't for everybody, but there have been clients I've worked with, you know, I'll pitch journalists to write about them, and they'll be like, well, have they had no press to date? And then we'll be like, no, of course they've had press to date. And then they'll be like, well, why don't they share any of the posts? You know, and the band's social media feed will have no mention of any media that they've had, right?
Yeah, and again, I even thought about this with Two Guys Metal Reviews when it was like, at this point, Two Guys Metal Reviews is really just a personal project. Mm-hmm. You know, and my reasons for doing it have kind of shifted from what they were when I was seriously considering a career in music journalism. Yeah. And that's fine. But like, when I was like, if I'm fucking 16 and smart enough to know, like, oh, like this band isn't going to share my shit, that's going to be lame because I'm not going to have as many people reading it. Like, if a fucking 16-year-old can figure that out,
yeah,
then like imagine someone who like is actually smart.
Yeah, I've actually had, I'm not joking, I've actually had had sites give me shit when the band does not share, and it's fucking embarrassing.
Well, yeah, well, like I talk about this with Vince Bellino all the time. Is like now that Vince and I, as dudes who kind of have our background in the underground, now that we've both kind of grown into, and Vince writes at Decibel, and now that we've both kind of grown into people who have, some voice, Vince probably more than me. Mm-hmm. Do you know what drives us the most crazy?
What's that, Matt Bacon?
Is when old friends hit us up asking for a review, and you do it because they were your boy in high school, and they don't share it.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the most discouraging shit.
I believe it. It totally is. I've done favors for people too, and it's just like they turn around and it's just like, oh, not even doing anything back for you, or I'm going to forget about you.
And it's not like it takes a long time.
No, not at all.
And simultaneously, I also understand like if you get it's wise to share everything, but I understand if you're getting 30, 50 reviews, why that might be a few too many to share.
30 to 50 is an awful lot, and it's probably only going to be happening if you're a Lamb of God.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, or even if like you've had a week where like a client got like 10 reviews at once, right?
Oh yeah, I try my best to still share everything. I do news items.
No, yeah, but what I'm saying is like I appreciate like you don't want to have like mono type content. Like I don't blame you if you want to do that, but like I still want to see at least some shares as a journalist. You know what I mean? Like,
in my opinion, I think you should just still spread it out. That's my own opinion. But
no, yeah, absolutely. I think so too. But I'm saying like that's an excuse I hear a lot. But like that dick isn't an excuse to not share at all. You fucking asshole. This person fucking took time to listen to your shitty fucking record. Like Jesus Christ, you fucking entitled piece of shit.
Well, yeah.
Like you don't understand how physically angry this makes me. Like to the point that I have called people out about that in person. Especially when I was more young and wild, where I'm like,
go ahead.
Like I would do a nice write up, and then the person wouldn't share it, and I'd get in their face and be like, I fucking wrote 500 words on you, and you couldn't spend 10 seconds to share it, even though it's on the fucking biggest site you're gonna get a review from.
It's pretty rude.
Like,
I've actually had sites blacklist me for months because the band did not share, even after I fucking pestered them and promised. Like I've literally had sites blacklist me, and it fucked me up for months with certain sites.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, it's not just about you, asshole. Curtis has other clients. Like you're not the center of Curtis's world. Like
I still love you, but you're not necessarily the center. Only Matt Bacon is my center of my universe.
Yeah, I am his rock.
He's my rock.
He's groomed me from the age of 15, 16 to grow.
That's right. But in all seriousness, if you don't share, it does a lot. There are many sites that won't do anything for the publicist if the bands aren't sharing. Even if they're swearing to God that they told the band to share, and they share themselves, some sites do get upset about that.
Yeah,
it has happened.
They need clicks. They're not assholes. They just need clicks.
And the other thing too that I've noticed too, just with that, is sometimes the band will share. Like I've done premieres for bands, like gotten the premiere set up. It goes live. It's all exclusive. The site's been promised exclusivity, and the second it goes live, the band then makes their own Bandcamp live or something, and then shares the Bandcamp stream, and not through the site.
Yeah, but separate situation.
Well, it's similar but different because they're not sharing the content. They're just kind of ripping it off for the site.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you have to be you have to be aware about these things, and you have to realize like your PR person is not trying to like tell you, it's not going to try to like get you to, it's not trying to fuck up your relationships. Or trying to fuck up their relationships, because they want you to come back to them, right?
Yeah, we want you to do well because when you do well, we get a referral out of it, and then that helps us, and it also shows that we're doing a good job. Nobody wants to do a bad job for someone, and usually the only reason why a bad job happened is a lot of times it's out of the publicist's control, and they legitimately did try to do a good job. Like I know publicists from a lot bigger places than me who've told me about crappy campaigns that they've run where it's just like no matter what they did, they just couldn't get a bite. It happens.
Yeah.
It does happen. Like, it's, you just got to figure out what went wrong and then, rework it for next time, right? And it sucks, but just sometimes it happens. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a campaign where I got no press, but I mean, I've heard of that happening, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it just doesn't fit what people need.
Mm-hmm. Reversely, I've also had times where, you think you have a knock it out of the park campaign, and the client comes back and they're like, "That's it?
Yeah.
Where's my stereo gum?"
And so realize you're not getting into stereo gum on your first release.
Yeah.
Big bands don't even get into stereo gum. Like a lot of the places you ask me about people might ask Curtis about getting into are places that like Mothership asked me about getting into, that Alcest asked me about getting into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, I'm not trying to swing my dick around. I'm just trying to be like, there's a limited amount of slots, and even Mothership isn't that big a deal.
Now, just one more thing I want to point out is the more ad budget you have, the more likely you are to get placed. And I'm not saying that pay to play exists. What I am saying, though, is that magazines have a very limited amount of space. And who do you think they're going to give priority to? The advertiser or the brand new band that hasn't put any skin in the game?
Exactly.
It's just, I don't like to say that, but it's the way it is. Because if you look at, for example, like a print magazine, how many reviews do they normally have? Like 20, 30 tops?
Yeah.
And there's like how many albums come out a month? Like a few hundred? There's only so much room that they can do, right? So you just kind of got to look at it and go like, oh, okay, well, I may have to put an ad in this magazine in order to get covered there.
Exactly. It's just, just be aware of where you're at, who you are, and how it's going.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it's going to turn around, as long as you're not an asshole.
Yeah.
And, the growth happens in a meaningful way. So anyway, this is the end of the whole shtick. What do you have to plug?
Oh, today I can't even think straight because I still got a little bit of the flu. So I'm going to just plug you, Matt. You do an awesome bio writing service.
Oh, thank you, Curtis.
I'm going to plug Matt. I highly recommend him. He charges like $75, $50. I can't even remember anymore.
75.
70. Oh, for listeners of the podcast, though, it's $25 off.
Listeners of the podcast, it's $25 off. Yes.
Okay, so for $50, Matt will write you an awesome bio. He does 3 of them. He does like a short one, a medium one, and a long one, and they fucking rule. You can use them for your press kits. If you have one written by him, they are top notch, and I could probably give you like 20 testimonials from people that have gotten great bios from him. So hit him up for $50.
Anyway, I also want to talk about my band analysis paper service, which is $150.
That's right.
And that's I upgraded it from a 3,000 word analysis to a thick 6,000 word analysis.
Ooh.
And it's just really rich in details, and it's just a really thorough, all-encompassing hack that's going to kind of help people get a very deep comprehension of where their band is at and what they can do to go where to go next. It comes with a huge set of action points. It comes with a huge just breakdown of literally everything. I think it's in 12 different segments. Again, 6,000 words of personalized analysis for your band.
Yeah, it's quite good. I highly recommend that too. You should buy both that and the bio for $200.
And if you hit me at matt@dropoutmedia.net, it'll actually I'll send you a sample one that I did for our friends in Death Kings.
Sweet.
That they really enjoy. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. This has been Dumb and Dumbest.
Are we done yet?